So the class logistics, we're gonna go over those. So here's the game plan for the class. Um, so most of the stuff was listed in the course description, but I wanted to just kind of talk through it while we're all together here. And so the lectures, there's a schedule on the course description, which I'll go over here in a second. And then basically we'll be watching like 1 or 2 lectures a week. And then, yeah, I guess, I mean, we can come back to the introductions as well. I just noticed that in the chat. So I'll go through this part about the course description, and then anyone that hasn't introduced themselves can jump back in and share. So if you haven't introduced yourself, maybe just raise your hand on Zoom. You can click the raise hand button. So, and so we can come back to that. And yeah, we should have African Farmer introduce himself too. So he's excited to be here and is really thrilled. So that'd be awesome. So I'll just kind of cover these class expectations, and we'll come back and finish the introductions. So the lectures, please watch those before the class. I think most people did that this time, so great job putting that together. And come prepared with questions. We'll be talking about them in a minute here. And and then basically part of what we'll be doing, I'll show you in a second, is filling out the business model canvas. That's kind of the core of your business. And basically it talks about all the different aspects and key parts of your business. And so there's a form on Google Forms, which I'll show in a second, that you can look at, copy it, and then you can edit it. And then each week you can just send me a copy of that. And that way we can all see your progress and record your learning just as you learn about all your different customers and you talk to them. And ideally, we want you to present on your business as well and just kind of give an update each week. And so if you record that on YouTube or put it on a WhatsApp audio, and share that, then that would make it easier. So maybe a quick question, you can throw your answer in the chat. How many people have like uploaded a video to YouTube before? So if you have uploaded a video to YouTube, maybe just throw like the name of it or an example of a video that you've done. You don't have to throw the link, but just say yes or no whether or not you've uploaded a video to YouTube, so I kind of see who's familiar with that process. So go ahead and put that in the chat now. So yeah, Udoka's done a lot. That's great. And so for those that haven't, we can talk through how to do that. And then each week, what you'll be doing is talking to your potential customers, right? You'll be getting feedback from them. And the goal is to interview 10 to 20 customers each week. So that way, by the end of the 10 weeks, you've interviewed at least 100 people about your idea, and you'll learn and you'll take all of the general thoughts, like all the general guesses that you have right now, and turn them into specific facts. And then if you run into issues, definitely like text me on WhatsApp and or put a message on Slack, which we'll go over. And so let us know if like you're falling behind or if you're struggling, rather than just being silent. Like let us know if you're running into issues. And definitely be looking for ways to help each other out. So each person is working in different business areas, and so a huge part of being successful is having this give first mentality. Brad Feld of Techstars, he talks a lot about this idea. He just wrote a book about giving first and how successful entrepreneurial ecosystems are built on trust and people being willing to help one another out. And so remember, this is like a team sport, and be able to look for ways to like make introductions or encourage each other or answer questions or share really good resources that you find, those types of things. So that way you don't have to reinvent the wheel each time. And that's a great question, Daniel. You don't have to record your interviews with potential customers, and you definitely don't need to share those with me, but it can be helpful if you are able to record them. It can be really good for your team to share the learning, especially if your whole team can't be there. You can record an interview and then share it with your team and talk about it. And then that way, 3 months from now or a month from now, when you're learning, you can refer back to older conversations. So that's a great question. Okay, so now some fun stuff here. So maybe put in the chat like whether or not you use Slack, and if you're familiar with that before. If you have used it, go ahead and put that in the chat. But Slack is a really great platform for communication. So it's kind of like WhatsApp, but it's much more versatile, and it's a lot easier to have different conversation threads. And so that way you can have one channel that's talking about all the class specifics, and you have one channel just talking about like marketing tactics. You can have one channel talking about different aspects. And so I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. And then also I created this, actually David, as he helped me with this LinkedIn group. And so LinkedIn is a great platform to connecting with other professionals and people working in the industry and other entrepreneurs. And so I created this group specifically for this class and just anyone looking to start a business. And so I will share some of those things and what it looks like right now. Let's see. Okay. So, okay. So this is what Slack looks like. So I'll put the link in the chat in a second so you can join it. And I'll put the link in the LinkedIn for the LinkedIn group as well. But Slack, you want to go ahead and download the app on your phone, and you can use it to chat just like on WhatsApp, but it's a lot more versatile. So here's the Slack group we have. And basically, I'll be putting class announcements in here, so it's easier to basically communicate and share news and things that we're doing and share the links each week. And then in here, as we go, we'll just have, I'm going to drop the discussion questions in here. And so as you're watching the videos, come back to this channel, the lecture discussions, and answer those questions so we can get the conversation going kind of in real time. And so just as you're watching the video, come over here and look and ask questions as well as answer them in here. And then there's a place for just help needed as well. So that way you can, if you're looking for someone that's really good at marketing, or you're looking to connect with farmers and you need help with that, you can drop it in here and just be like, hey, does anyone know someone that produces cassava? I would love to go talk with them. And then someone else can introduce you and connect you that way. So that's kind of the goal of the chat here. And then there's a really cool app called the Donut app, which does 15-minute introductions. And so if you join this channel, they'll get randomly paired with someone, and then you can basically schedule a time to meet with them and just get to know them and hear their story and hear what they're working on, and just start building your network that way organically. And so that's in here. So this is Slack. If anyone has questions about Slack, feel free to drop those in the chat as well, and definitely download the app if you haven't done that already. Okay. And then, okay. And then also I'll be setting up office hours as well. And so Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Will be a chance for you just to connect and to ask me any questions that you might have. And so that definitely make time for that if you have any interest. And I'll be sharing the link for that. We'll schedule it the same way we did the interview, so you can just schedule a time and then we can talk about it. Yeah, so that's the game plan for office hours. And then we also have some people, this is really exciting, some people that have are successful business owners that have been there and done that and gone through the process, that are willing to mentor and like basically help each team along as they are learning about and going through this process. But right now we're still in the process of recruiting mentors. And so what we're going to be doing is for teams that are consistent and they're showing up and they're showing results and they're getting everything turned in on time, and they are showing that they are committed to solving their problem, we'll pair them with mentors, right? So once you kind of have a track record of getting things done, then we'll connect to you. So it's an exciting opportunity. And maybe with that, African farmer, are you still around? Would you be able to introduce yourself and just kind of tell people a little bit about what you're working on and your background?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I start?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm African farmer Mogaji. I changed my name 2005 to African farmer legally. I've been in the agri space for 24 years across the value chain. I co-founded a couple of startups. I designed and co-founded Farm Crowdy. I mostly played at the background, and I've left that startup now. And just on Monday, we're launching another platform and a couple of platforms because it's COVID and recession era in Nigeria. So you just have to be agile. Beyond that, we have a radio program every Monday. Between 150 to 400,000 listeners, and we're going on a new station this week. I'm a TV personality. I analyze agriculture on the 4 major national TV stations, the likes of Channels TV, CRIs, LTV, which are equivalents of Fox and CNN in the US. And I also contribute into 5 major national newspapers. I'm very big and passionate about supporting youths in entrepreneurship and also part of getting them in entrepreneurship and agribusiness value chain mostly. Yeah, that's what I do. I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm almost never around.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing. It's just really awesome to have you be a part of this meeting and just your willingness to help and pass on what you've learned to the next generation. So it's a real honor to have you here.
Thank you. Same here.
Okay. And then one more thing, and then we'll do introductions for anyone that we missed before. So for those that I know data is hard to come by, that I'm putting together some like scholarships to basically share, allow people to basically be able to give you some data. And I'm still in the process of getting that set up. And it's not going to be just free. You'll have to do some tasks each week just to help out. So that way you can basically just like 1 or 2 tasks to help me with the class. And then we'll give you some extra data for the month. And if you want to, if you need help with data, if it's hard to come by or you're struggling, you can go to this link and fill out the application. And I'll drop this in the chat as well. And it'll probably take me a week or 2 to get that set up and get the logistics figured out to be able to send over the data. But just wanted to let you know that that will be available for those that are interested and if you need the data. So, and okay. So the last thing I wanted to say was just it's a great thing that Ash Mara points out is that really the solution is oftentimes changing. And so you really need to focus on the problem and not just the solution, right? So oftentimes people get so obsessed with a new creative, innovative solution and they try and sell something that no one wants, right? That happens all the time. 40% of startups fail because they're building something that no one wants. And so in this process of learning how to start a company, what you want to do is really focus on the problem and really obsess over how do we solve, understanding what the problem is, how people face it, what are the struggles people go through, and then be flexible on the solution because there can be multiple ways to solve a single problem. And so being flexible on your solution and really focusing on the problem to start really makes a huge difference. So, okay. With that, Team Avro is not here because Kingsley's phone died. So let's go ahead and jump back into introductions. And so I'll go back to that section. So anyone I missed So if you haven't introduced yourself, go ahead and speak up now. And then after that, we will go into the discussions. So go ahead and unmute yourself and introduce yourself if you haven't done so already.
Davis, I wanted to ask that is it everyone that is supposed to introduce themselves, or once someone speak up from your team, you don't need to talk again?
Yeah, just one person per team. So so just one person per team. If one person has kind of shared what you're working on, then that's fine. And and then we'll do breakout sessions here in a second for the actual discussion time, and so that way we'll have another chance to talk with people. So
all right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yes, I was speaking earlier. I guess the network was bad. I am Courage Afemije from Blue Africa. Blue Africa is a brand that aims to create a platform whereby small-scale businesses can own online stores for free on a mobile app, which we are looking into making into a community, a social business community, actually, so that even business owners can connect with other business owners, and they can also sell to customers who also come to the platform to search for products and search for service-based businesses. And so currently we are working on the first prototype of the mobile application, and we are also very excited to be a part of this program because it's an avenue for us to challenge ourselves towards acquiring customers and getting to know what future is best for the mobile application. And currently we have a few members on the team. Well, we have about 8 members on the team, but we are majorly four. Only 4 of us are participating in this particular program because others are a bit busy currently. So 4 of us will be dedicating our time to making sure that we are able to get the prototype ready within the next 3 months, and also start the process of acquiring customers and getting people to use and test the app. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's great. Jude, do you want to introduce yourself? God's Delight.
Sorry, I came a little late. Okay. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, you're good. We can hear you. It's kind of broken up. Go for it.
My team name is Joan Tech. It's like a tech startup shining around solar technology. So like trying to develop solar villages in Nigeria that supply constant and renewable and reliable electricity at a bundle rate, and it's going to be financially achievable and at the same time profitable. So it's looking at small businesses and students as the marketing niche. Let's remember, for now, I would say it's something I'm working on alone. For now, I don't have team members at the moment, but I'm open to, and I'm searching for team members. I'm from UNN, currently my 200 level electronics engineering, and because of the break, I had a lot of time to do other recreational activities, like I took some online courses, and I just took a step outside trying to develop the business. Then I'm from Anambra State, Nigeria, and I grew up in Jos, Plateau State. I grew up in the north, but I'm from the east. What do I enjoy doing? I enjoy movies and writing, like lyrics for rap. the best place to find good self-service, honestly, I would say is in my school because there's free Wi-Fi there, and there's some places I have boosted network. Unlike here, that my network is most of the time poor. And that was like one of the reasons why I came late. So that's me.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for introducing yourself. Let me share. Let me go at full screen. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go into breakout rooms. I guess, is there anyone else that didn't introduce themselves? Sorry, keep wanting to rush ahead because we're running short on time, but any other teams? Udoka, did you want to share your team? I don't know if you had a chance.
Oh, okay. Hi. Thank you very much, sir. I'm Udoka Tubelu Riches, founder of Rich Mills Nigeria and also founder of Ghana's for Africa. Ghana's for Africa specifically works on helping students to be more upskilled as regard the most contemporary technology skills which are required for the required in the corporate world now. Of course, to also help them to develop a career path that falls in line with their individual genius. So that also means we help them to identify their individual genius and be intentional about building a career around it. I think that will summarize it. We have a team, of course. Ghana's for Africa has a team, and also for Rich Mills Nigeria, we also have a team there. Rich Mills Nigeria is into palm kernel oil production. I think that summarizes what we do, although we are trying to extend further later on into biolubricants. So I think that's that for now. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing. Okay, is there anyone else? I'll do one last call for introductions or for teams.
Robert?
Yes.
I think we should establish some house rules.
Okay, that would be great. What are your
Very crucial. House rule number 1 should be you must be intentional. 2, you must come on time. If you come in 4 o'clock, you're already late. You should be at least 5 minutes. When 4, you are late, but it's acceptable at 4. So please, I think it's disrespectful when people apologize for coming late. If there's $500,000 on the line for everybody that comes in early 4 o'clock, everybody will be 4 o'clock deadline. Nobody will want to miss 500,000 USD. So we should be on time. And thirdly, is as much as possible, try to work from a laptop. That way it reduces your distraction. And if you can't work on a laptop, please ensure that your background is not noisy so you can get the best out of the class. I think we should just start with that. We can add to that later. Thank you.
Thank you. That's great. I really appreciate you sharing that. Because yes, obviously, if people aren't on time, then it's difficult to get anything done. So thank you so much for sharing, and totally agree. And one of the other things I wanted to add along those lines is we really want this community to be a place of trust and confidentiality, right? So people can feel welcome to help each other out and to support one another. And so along those lines, just always be thinking the best of one another and think of how can you encourage each other, and don't talk bad about other people. If you have any issues or anything goes wrong, feel free to go talk to them directly. And then the stuff that people share here about their business, we want people to be able to be open and to get criticism about it. And so don't share what people talk about here outside of this, when it regards to like their business model and what they're working on, unless of course it's like public information. If they're trying to get sales, like you can obviously tell people about introduce their customers to them. So that's great.
Sorry, let me just add this to it. I'm sorry.
Please.
Yeah, because I've facilitated on quite a number of coaching platforms, Faith Foundation, Leap Africa, and Actors and Co. And I just want to let everybody know your idea may not necessarily be something new out of the blues. There might be something just different about it. But because I'm a Nigerian and apart from you, I believe all of us are Nigerians, there are probably 10 people working on an aspect of your idea currently. So what you get from this platform is speed and being ahead because of the community. So feel free, because I'm sure if you Google your idea, you will find a minimum in Nigeria, you will find many articulate youths, who are also trying to work on it. So be free. It's easier when your ideas are criticized and you tweak it so that you can move ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Okay, with that, we will move on to the discussions. And so we're going to go ahead and break into different groups now, so that way more people can talk and share what they learned and discuss. And so I'll put these questions in the chat. But basically, we want each person just to share, like, have one person summarize like the video. What did you learn? What did it talk about in the first lesson? And then go through and answer these questions for lesson 1. And so we'll do lesson 1 for about 10 minutes, and then we'll talk about lesson 2 for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back together, and we'll want one representative from each group to share what your group talked about and discussed. And so we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and break out into, we'll go into small groups now, so that way you can talk about it. And feel free to drop any questions in the chat as well. All right, well, welcome back, everyone. So I hope that went okay. I know it can be challenging sometimes with the difficult network connection to hear everyone and to have some of these discussions. And so, but I'm excited to hear just kind of a summary. Maybe if one person from each group could just share what you talked about and just kind of some of the highlights that you took away. Courage, would you be able to share just a little bit about what you guys discussed in your group?
Okay, can I go first?
Oh, yeah, sure. That'd be great if you want to.
Okay, first of all, we started by saying the first question: do you think some people in the higher class or in the apex level of society are more fortunate or more luckier than us? Yes, it is highly obvious. With a societal structure like of ours, where the digital divide, not only digital divide, the financial divide is very obvious, that the gap between the rich and the poor is extremely far.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's extremely far from each other. So it tends to say that people in the apex part of the country or the apex part of society get more resources, more personnel, more connectivity, more things that we don't usually have. Not only people in the apex part of the society, but people in other countries that are in there. Like we say, Nigeria is a third world country. So people in the second and first world countries like USA are people that we would say that are highly more highly advantaged, or say have more advantage, than us when it comes to technology, infrastructure, connectivity, and so on. All this make them luckier. All this mean they can actually go out, even though it might seem that they might have a different customer segments than us, or customer conditions than us. But all these things, with all these resources, they might, yeah, sure, they are more luckier than us. But this is just for the first question. So should I go
on? Yeah, do you want to, you can, I mean, just I think in just summarizing what some of the other things that you talked about in your
Okay, then apart from that, we got to talk about the different parts of the business canvas.
So we talked about how what are these canvases all about, like key activities, key resources, and the rest. We talked about this. Then we now answered the second question. Answered the second question. So we answered it to the best of our capacities, and we understood each other's most effectively as we could. So yeah, we actually really talked. We talked. So it was nice.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing. African Farmer, would you like to share what your group talked about, or maybe someone else from your breakout room?
Yeah, let somebody else, and at the end of everything, I can chip in 2 minutes.
Okay.
At the end of everybody's response.
That's great. Udoka or Glory, would you be willing to share from your breakout room what you talked about? Someone else in there?
All right, can I speak?
Okay,
yes.
cool. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you very much. From my big breakout room, we discussed extensively on what we learned from the lectures, and we talked about the fact that the differences between small startups and big companies, the fact that big companies basically majorly execute, while small startups should focus on research. Also discuss the fact that startups should first discuss with customers before going ahead to build products, because it will help them save time and money. That way they understand the key features and the key needs of the customers, so they won't basically be building or developing a product based on their own assumptions what the customers need, but rather what the customers actually need. And that way, they would also not end up running out of business, because we also learned that that's one of the enough customers. The products, kind of product they develop is not the kind of products. So what's it called? Small scale businesses, I mean, startups mainly have to do more of the outside the building work than inside the building work, and that is them and getting to interview customers almost to get as much data as possible, rather than just working on the idea or on laptop or something. So yeah, that is just a few summary of what we discussed.
Excellent. Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you were able to cover all of those topics. And Lori, what about you? You want to kind of share what you talked about? Or
Yeah, we learned a whole lot of things, and the most especially what I picked from that class that is so important is like your what you read. Like we should read a whole lot of books, especially business books too, because it's going to help us grow, and it's going to help us with research and so many other things. So, and also we talked about the business model canvas and what they're all about, and from the questions that were enlisted, we touched each of those questions, and we had everybody talk. And one thing again is that we about the experience, that the whole idea of this class is not to sit back and learn and just for yourself, but to go out in the field and practice what you learn. So that's very important to me. Thank you.
excellent. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it's amazing how many books have made a big difference in my life, and just being able to like get in that regular cadence of reading new books and just learning from people. You should think about there's so many successful entrepreneurs that once they've built a business and they've grown it large, they will write a book to tell about their story and what they learned along the way. And so in a lot of ways, just reading a book is a great way just to get a firsthand seat at to learn from other experienced people that have done it. So would anyone else like to share some thoughts? And then, well, yeah, is there anyone else that was
okay? Let me just share this because hearing Anosike, I think, and the other people in my team, they felt people are luckier than them, and which is justifiable, but not the truth. And I'll just share a brief story. It's about the mindset. Many people, my family will go to Europe every year. I will go to African countries, and I would say that my destiny cannot queue at any visa office. That I cannot just queue. That if I'm going to the developed world, they will invite me, and I will go honorably. And after about 3 years, when I was invited to the U.S. Embassy, they actually kept us waiting in a room. And when we got there, they actually took us for lunch in the embassy, apologizing for keeping us waiting. So we ate, got to US government. And when they eventually gave us a letter for application, I had a meeting for 1 o'clock at the embassy. I got there for 12. When I showed the letter, they said, this letter does not permit you to wait. By the time, and they just ushered me straight in. I spent about 20 minutes inside. When I came out, I had already gotten my visa. US government paid for the visa fees. And as I was going out, I had completed my visa interview before the appointed time on the letter. So, and when I was coming out, I was smiling, gisting, and they gave me a bottle of drink again. And people were all outside, with straight faces. So it's about mindset. If you believe you're different, if you believe you're unique, you will find that expression. And that is what books have made me. So nobody is luckier. I just began reading almost 20 something years ago. Ideas Rule the World, Power of Positive Thinking, Think and Grow Rich, and many more. So it's very crucial that nobody's different, nobody's luckier. You focus early, you get results. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's highly appreciated.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. That's an awesome story, and it's really encouraging to hear. So Franklin had a question in the chat. He just dropped in, just asking about some of the challenges of understanding why is it, basically saying it's hard to believe that it's actually better to talk to customers first. And he just says, I was thinking it's better if you build a product first and then develop it or make it better and you start speaking to people to know how they want it. That's because I think it's going to be a waste of time talking to people about a thing that is not in existence. And so does anyone have like an answer, or what would be kind of some of your thoughts on why it could be useful to talk to people first? And like Daniel answers that well. But I think maybe one thing just to clarify about it too. Yeah, someone want to jump in?
All right. Thank you. Okay, I think it's actually better to talk to customers before building a product or a service, because you might end up building something they never wanted. Okay, when we came up with our idea, we were told about this woman-centered approach, that we needed to go to this our target audience, our target customers, to see the way they view the problem. Because what we actually did was think about the problem, research about it, and think about the solution. But then when we did that, we found out that the solution was not what they thought would be the solution. So they were not ready to invest in our idea. So when we went to interview them, to talk to them, we saw the problem from their own perspective. We saw their challenges, and it gave us a huge insight into how best to build our product.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I wanted to show a quick video here too. See if I can find the link. Okay. So here's maybe an example of why.
We're in Knox, and we
Okay, 1 second. Share my screen. But just to talk about this too, to clarify as well, is there is a big difference between customer discovery and customer validation. So the first step is really customer discovery, where you're really just learning about what your customers' problems are. What are they going through? What are their challenges? What are they struggling with? And you're asking questions about the past. What is the history? What have they done? So you're trying to understand, like, for example, what are they currently doing to solve this problem, right? Like if you want to build a marketplace for selling food, and you want people to go on your app and find food to buy and then use your software to do that, then what are they currently doing to buy food? Like obviously people are buying food. So what does it look like to go to the marketplace, and how are they, what are the things they're shopping for? What are the challenges they're currently facing? And what are they actually wrestling with? Because you want to make sure that you actually are solving a real problem. And although it is challenging to talk to people about something that doesn't exist, that's actually the first step of sales, right? Is if you're building something that's brand new that no one has done before, which is hard to do in and of itself because people are already building lots of new ideas. But if it's something that someone is not familiar with, then they need to hear about it, and they need to like hear you talking about what it does, and they need to be convinced enough to be willing to download your app or visit your website or try it out for the first time. And so that's part of the process, is learning what do people, what are they going to resonate with? What is the messaging that they're really going to understand, and doing it in such a way where they are excited to move forward. I'm going to share my screen real quick and just share. This is a story from someone from a class in Steve Blank's class. This is a team, and this is just kind of what they learned through the customer discovery process. So
developed a smart spacer designed to help pediatric asthmatics avoid ER visits and hospitalizations. Because our device is compact and combined industry standards, we thought we had a large market, represented here by the pink balloon.
Is that the size of the market? Probably much larger than that.
After conducting many customer interviews, we realized things couldn't be further from the truth.
Like your child's asthma is pretty well under control. All you have to do is continue to give her the medication every day that comes in the morning and at night. And
Yes. I have a solution for you guys. What do you think of a medical device that can help monitor the severity of your symptoms over time?
Actually, it seems like most of our symptoms are already under control, so I don't really see a need for this device. Yeah, we're not having a problem.
So will you pay for our device?
Great idea. I don't know who's going to pay for it. Our clinic operates on grants. We don't have any money. Our patient population is of urban, low socioeconomic level. They don't have any money. I'm afraid I don't know who's going to pay for this.
So would you be willing to pay for this device?
How much are you going to save me?
10 million?
Security.
Wait, what? Wait, so how much of a savings would you like to have? I mean, what kind of cost savings what problems does your insurance company currently have?
So it looks like clinicians aren't interested in this device. They're not going to pay for it. And it doesn't look like insurers are going to pay.
Patients don't seem to want to pay as well.
So what now? Our market size was like this, and now. So what do we do now?
Oh, I know.
all right, so I know that the audio quality on that wasn't very good, but
was okay. I could hear everything.
okay.
I hate everything you said. I like the
That's
security part.
fun. Me too.
Good. But yeah, you can see like they kind of were summarizing, weeks of interviewing and talking to different customers, and they went to all these different customers, and they thought it was this big problem that people would pay a lot of money for, and then found out that it wasn't at all the case, and they had to end up changing quite a bit. And And so that's just an example. And that's the reality is that's probably what's going to happen for most people is you'll learn and you'll discover new insights. So any other
Sorry,
along those lines?
can I ask a question, please?
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, I missed the whole class. Like, I'm sorry, like I had issues with electricity and I just had to charge up. For instance, if my team or some team go to meet customers and they find out that their ideas are not actually solving a real life problem, can they just pivot to something else? Or what do you think? Because switching to a new idea is very, very challenging. So how would they go about it? Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I talked a little bit about this at the beginning, but that's why you really want to focus on solving a problem. So focus on the problem, really fall in love with like, what is the issue that people are experiencing? And don't worry as much about, like hold on loosely to your solution, I should say. Because the problem, if it's a real problem that's really big, then you can find a solution to that problem if people are willing to pay for it. And so the first step really is discovering a problem that people are willing to pay for and that they are excited to address. And then kind of the same thing goes for your customer market, right? Like if you come up with a very specific niche customer market that you can generally reach out to and connect with and build relationships with. Let's say, it's like you want to talk to people that are 30 to 35 years old that, are farmers that are growing cassava plants or something, just like a very specific niche. And 100 people in this market. Well, if you go talk to all those 100 people and you have conversations with them, then you'll discover what their problems are. And then all you have to do is solve that problem for them. And so hopefully that makes sense. So think about your customer and think about your problem and really fall in love with those two things. And then once you spend enough time thinking about the problem, the solution will present itself.
If I may add to that, Robert, I think while they're going out to ask the questions, they should be open-minded because the people giving them the feedback will also give them the idea of their needs that they are willing to pay for, even though they may not voice it out. But if it's reoccurring in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feedbacks, it might be the new idea that they should tweak it to. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. I understand.
So here is the, so I'm just going to transition here. This is, I'm going to talk about what you're going to do for this next week, and we're going to set goals, and we'll kind of wrap up here in a minute, well, in 20 minutes. That's our goal. So this is the business model Canvas journal. It's in the course description. Yeah, so in this description, if you come down here, so right here, this business model Canvas, if you click on that link, and then here's the link for the Slack group as well. But if you click on this link, it'll open up this document. And so what I want every team to do is to make a copy of this document and start filling it out. And so we have all of the different segments, all the parts of the business model Canvas written out here. And so your first step is just to take a guess at answering all these parts of it. And then each week you'll come back and you'll modify this based off of what you learn from your customers, right? So that's just like African Farmer was saying, is that you hold on loosely to these ideas. And so that way you can change them as you go along. And so for next week, just fill out these first 9 sections and then start brainstorming who you can be reaching out to. How are you going to meet your target customers and talk to them? This is per team. So you're working on one business together, and so you want to do this together as a team. And then once you start talking to people, just fill this out, write down their name, write down who they are, like what company do they work for, what's their job, like who did you talk to, and then just kind of what did you learn. And this is just like a high level summary. So that way we kind of keep track of a log, but you'll have another document, which is the customer interview template. And so we'll fill this out as well. But for now, what we're gonna do just for this week is fill out the first 9 sections of this and write down like who's on your team, what's your vision, and why start. And then once you have this filled out, actually before you can edit it, you just come up here, click File, make a copy, and then you can put in your team name. So like whatever, I'll just do it for mine. And so you make a copy like that, and then this saves it to your Google Drive account. If you don't have a Google Drive account, you can just sign up for a Gmail and you can get one for free. And so then you can just fill this out with your team name, etc. And then once you have this filled out, come over here to the share button, click on that, and then just put in my email address and send it to me. And then that way we can all see it. And you can leave me as an editor or as a commenter if you want. And just say, put in your team name here in the message. And then what's really great about this is now I can come in and I can add comments on your business segment, and your mentors can do this as well. And so it's a really easy way to collaborate and to all like kind of talk about what it is you're doing. So hopefully, does that make sense? Like how to go ahead and how to copy this document. Any questions on that?
Okay, I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, like this is another new way, and thank you for showing me this new way of editing. But my question is like, apart from the 9 that will fail, are we going to keep changing them every time we approach customers, or we'll just go straight to that customer hypothesis table? I don't really get this whole part now.
Yeah, that's a great question. So what we'll do is as you learn new things about your customers, you can update this. So maybe you start out and you say, oh, my first customer segment is cassava farmers. Can't even spell cassava. Okay. So that's your customer segment that you want to start with. And then maybe you, in the first week, you go and you talk to 10 cassava farmers and you're like, oh, none of them actually want my product. So maybe I'm going to go talk to rice farmers instead or whatever. I'm just kind of making up an example. And so then you can just like cross this out and update it as you go, as you learn. And Google Sheets has a history version, so you can actually see the changes that you made over time. And so over time, you'll be able to learn how your, you can see how your business has changed, right? So that, hopefully that makes sense. And we can talk through those questions offline as well. I'll be happy to kind of help people walk through it, but just try, this first step really is just copy this template, fill out those first 9 questions, and then we'll iterate on it as we go. Any other questions on that? Yeah. If not, we're going to want to turn it over to Udoka to just kind of share his business model and talk about what he's working on to kind of give you an example as well. So Udoka, are you there? Can you try sharing your screen? Or...
Okay, I'm here, sir. Thank you. Okay, so we are gardeners for Africa, and we are okay. I can't. I'm trying to share the screen, but I think I need to make a co-host, sir.
Okay. There you go. You have to change it back to me when you're done, but.
Okay, sir.
So yeah, go ahead and try sharing your screen now.
Okay. So specifically on as regard the reaching out to, because I guess presently in the class, we are what we're being taught is on. Sorry, excuse me, sorry.
yeah, you can yeah, sorry, we'll have to figure out a better way to share screens in the future. I think what we'll do in the future is if people are able to record their presentation and upload it to YouTube or just send me that document, I'll just pull up the document each week and you can talk through it to make it easy. So
Okay, should I go ahead or should it be?
yeah, go ahead and you can just talk about your business model if you want. It might be easier than trying to share this.
Okay, but I guess maybe share the screen later because I'm trying to do it, So, well, the business model is specifically, what we're trying to do is to reach out to schools and help students to be more, to be upskilled in terms of the contemporary technology skills available, which will be required, which is presently required in the corporate world, as against what is being taught today in schools, and as well to help students to have a better view of who they are in terms of what their unique genius is. Because in a class of 30, and if after the result is being rated, the students will get first, the students will get second, the student will get last position. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that the student that is performing at the bottom of the class doesn't have a unique genius. So what we want to do, what we're doing is to help them to know what their unique genius is so that they're able to focus on it, be intentional about it, and build a career path on it, not finishing school first and then getting any job, to earn a living, whichever that pays more. So what we've actually gone to schools, because this is what we want to do for the students, but the schools have to agree, the parents have to be willing to pay for it, and we have to have a unique model that is scalable and that will make it effective in this sense, that is cheaper. So we've gone to schools. That's why I'm supposed to share my screen to show you what we've done. We went to schools, we wrote to them, they gave their consent, and then we've met with one already. We partook in their PT. They had to organize a PT meeting for this. So we discussed with them on the with the PT, and the parents said they were willing to pay. The school was interested. So I'm having difficulty in sharing the screen. Sorry. Just wanted to show how the PTA meeting went and how they mentioned their intention to participate in it. So also all the parents were interested. The school director was also interested. And then as regard the business canvas, we've also built one, which we're also supposed to share. I don't know if it's not going through now. I guess maybe in the next class, we'll definitely get it, shared out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thanks for sharing. And it's just, a good example of, being able to go out and talk to people and get feedback from them and really start selling customers before you even have anything. And so that's kind of the essence of the business process. And so thinking of how can you just take what you have right now and establish a customer base before you even need to build a product. And so, yeah, next week we'll kind of figure out the technical details. I'll try and see if each team can just share that document with me, and that way I can just pull it up on my screen and we can go through it. It's probably the easiest thing to do for now. So thanks for sharing. Okay, last thing we're gonna do to wrap up, I just want to set goals for this week and for the 3 months. And so this will be part of your homework, but we'll just kind of do a breakout session again, so each team can talk about their goals, and then you can finalize these. But just think about, okay, where do you want to be 3 months from now? What do you want to accomplish at the end of this class? Where do you want your business to be at? Do you want to be generating revenue? Do you want to build a proof of concept? Do you want to be really launching your business? Or you just want to maybe talk to 100 customers, get feedback from them, and really understand who your target segment is, get business traction. Just kind of think about and share what your 3-month goals are, and then your 1-month goal. And so how you're going to get there, and then think of what tasks you want to do for this week. So kind of the homework for this week is to create your business model canvas. I have it over here. Oh yeah, SMART goals. Okay, so the things to do this next week are business model canvas, start talking to your customers, see how many customers you can start talking to and connecting with, and really think of how you're going to start getting these introductions, right? Like talking to 10 people a week can be challenging depending on who your target customers are. And so you have to think of who are your target customers and how are you going to connect with them? How are you going to get in front of them? What value can you add to them just to be able to take their time? And then before next week, just record your update and send it to me and share that document. So that's the goal for this next week. And let's go back here. And then of course with goal setting, you probably have all seen this before, but and this is kind of a whole lecture in itself, but just thinking of things that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based, right? So I already kind of mentioned the time-based part of it. So with that, we have like 9 minutes here, so I'm just gonna do breakout rooms for 5 minutes and talk about with the people in your group what your goals are for the end of this class. So you're trying to set your 3-month goals and then you can write them down afterwards. So does anyone have any questions while I throw out the breakout rooms? I'm just gonna open up the same rooms again, basically.
Sir, please, can you go back to the last slide?
Yeah. This one here. Yeah.
No, the one before the explanation of the goals.
Oh, SMART goals. Yeah. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope you're able to go over your goals and talk about with everyone and go. And definitely one important thing is to write them down. And so that'll be part of the homework for this week too, is to write down what your goals are. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the meeting. So if you and so I'm going to, after this on the WhatsApp group, I'll share the invite to the Slack group. So that way you can all join there and we can have, the goal is to try and help have some of this discussion offline as well, especially since the network can be bad for different people. So we want to allow everyone to be able to access it as they are available. And so join Slack, download the app, and start talking about the lectures and the discussions there, and also a great chance just to meet people individually. And feel free to reach out to me on Slack as well if you have any questions as things progress. But it's super exciting for everyone to be here. I hope I'm really looking forward to seeing how you're all going to perform this next 3 months and be able to help hold each other accountable to that. So the last thing I wanted to share before we wrap up, I want to pair teams together to like help each other, hold each other accountable and to learn from one another. And so the team leaders, I'll be introducing you to another team leader, and the goal is for you to meet with each other once a week, or just like chat on WhatsApp or to do a phone call to talk about how things are going and talk through some of the challenges you're facing when leading your team, and just to think of how you can help each other out. And so I'll be making those introductions over the next couple of days as well. So with that, we will call it a meeting. Thanks so much, everyone, for your time. And yeah, is looking forward to an awesome 10 weeks. So thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir, for your time. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, and Mr. African Farmer, thank you so much too.
Thank
Thank you a lot.
Thank you. Bye.